If her conversations with you suddenly become more personal, does that mean attraction or simply trust? The difference is easy to miss. Some verbal shifts only show comfort. Others reveal preference, attachment, or future inclusion. The key is knowing which signals deserve more weight. This is not about finding one magic sentence that proves how she feels. The same warm phrase can mean different things in different relationships. What matters is the kind of information her words are giving you, and whether that information becomes more specific, spontaneous, repeated, and consistent with how she treats you. Start with the kind of signal men misread most often: emotional closeness. The first signal is that she becomes noticeably more open and comfortable with you. Maybe the conversations move beyond surface-level topics. She shares opinions she normally keeps to herself. She tells you about something personal without making it feel like a formal confession. She may even say that talking to you feels easy, or that she feels understood around you. That matters. It tells you there is trust, but trust is not the same as romantic direction. A woman can feel emotionally safe with a man and still see him as a friend. She can value his perspective, enjoy long conversations, and feel completely relaxed around him without wanting the relationship to become romantic. So do not dismiss this signal, but do not promote it into proof either. The clean interpretation is simple. There is closeness here. What you still do not know is where that closeness is going. The signal becomes more informative when comfort turns into preference. The second signal is specific preferential language. There is a difference between hearing "you're really nice" and hearing something that places you in a more distinct category. Maybe she points out that your way of thinking is different from the men she usually meets. Maybe she notices a quality in you that matters specifically to her. Maybe she brings up that comparison without you asking for reassurance or fishing for a compliment. The important part is not the praise, it is the differentiation. Generic compliments are easy to give. They can come from friendliness, politeness, or simple appreciation. A specific comparison tells you more because she is not only saying something positive, she is showing that she has been evaluating you in relation to other people. Even then, one comment is still one comment. Its value rises when it is specific, when she brings it up on her own, and when the same distinction appears again over time. That is the first major shift in how to read verbal signals. Do not count compliments. Notice whether you are becoming distinct in her attention. Preference is useful evidence. Direct relational language tells you something different. The third signal is when she starts naming the connection itself. This is different from saying that you are funny, thoughtful, attractive, or easy to talk to. Now the subject is no longer just you. The subject is what exists between the two of you. She may describe the conversations as unusually natural. She may say the connection feels different from what she's used to. She may refer to the dynamic between you as something she values in a way that feels more personal than a normal compliment. That deserves more weight because it contains more relational information. But more weight does not mean certainty. Deep friendship can also include strong emotional language. People can feel unusually close without being romantically interested. The point is not to hear one intimate phrase and decide the case is closed. The point is that the language has moved closer to us, and when that happens spontaneously, more than once, and without obvious contradiction from her behavior, it becomes harder to treat it as generic warmth. So far, every signal has happened while you are together or actively talking. But presence is only half the picture. Absence can reveal a different kind of attachment. The fourth signal is when your absence starts entering her language. She notices when you have not talked. She says she missed a conversation you normally have. She brings up that something felt different because you were not there. Or she tells you she has been thinking about you without being pushed into saying it. Again, context matters. A casual "miss you" between close friends can mean exactly what it says and nothing more. A playful message after a few hours apart does not suddenly prove romantic feelings. What makes absence-related language more useful is spontaneity and pattern. Enjoying your company tells you something about the experience she has when you are present. Noticing your absence tells you something about the space you occupy when you are not. That is new information, and there is an important discipline here. Do not turn this into a tactic. If you hear that absence can reveal attachment, the answer is not to disappear on purpose and test her. You are trying to read reality, not manufacture a reaction. If she independently notices your absence, that matters more than if you create distance just to see whether she responds. And the clearest shift in direction often appears when her language starts moving forward in time. The fifth signal is future-oriented inclusion. This does not mean she starts talking about marriage, moving in together, or some dramatic future after 3 dates. It is usually much smaller than that. She starts naturally including you in future possibilities. She mentions an event months away and assumes you might be part of it. She talks about a place she wants to go and frames it as something the two of you could do. She refers to plans in a way that quietly carries the connection forward. This matters because future language reveals something different from present comfort. Emotional closeness says, "I like what this feels like now." Future inclusion can suggest, "I can imagine this continuing." That still does not make every vague, "we should do that sometime," meaningful. People say things like that casually. The weight increases when the future reference is concrete, when she brings it up herself, when it happens more than once, and when there is some follow-through behind the words. A vague idea is weak evidence. Repeated, specific inclusion is stronger because it shows direction, not just warmth. Now the important part. None of these signals should be judged in isolation. You do not need a complicated system. Just ask 4 simple questions. How specific is the language? A generic compliment carries less information than something personal and clearly tied to you. Did it appear spontaneously? A statement you had to pull out of her tells you less than one she offered without prompting. Does it repeat? One moment may reflect mood, context, or simple affection. A repeated shift gives you more reason to update your interpretation. And does her behavior broadly support what she is saying? Words and actions do not have to match perfectly. People get busy, they get nervous, they can be inconsistent sometimes. But if the language sounds deeply interested, while the behavior repeatedly points in the opposite direction, you should lower the confidence you place in the words. This is where judgment matters. The goal is not to become cynical and explain away every positive signal. It is also not to become so hopeful that one intimate sentence turns into a story about feelings she has never actually shown. A few generic compliments may tell you less than one specific pattern of future inclusion. One personal conversation may tell you less than a repeated combination of preference, relational language, and consistent effort. The question is not, did she say the right phrase? The better question is, how much evidence is actually here? That is the difference between noticing a signal and inventing a conclusion. Warm language matters. Emotional closeness matters. Preference, attachment, and future inclusion can matter even more. But your conclusion should become stronger only as the evidence becomes stronger. You do not need to pretend the signals mean nothing, and you do not need to turn them into certainty before reality has earned that certainty. Match your certainty to the evidence. Have you ever mistaken emotional closeness for attraction? Subscribe for clear, grounded psychology on attraction and dating. And if the next question is whether she is genuinely busy or starting to lose interest, the next video breaks down the signs that actually matter. Watch that next.